Thank you.
Um, So, hello everyone. I hope that everyone from the third round table joined. Is PhD candidate Devanjalisa, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing correctly, and Professor Dr. Hemandi Banerjee. So the topic is critical success barriers in rental housing projects, a global perspective in developing countries. So we'll start with this until the chair comes. Are you here? The writers of this article? We shall start anyway. Good.
Good morning, everyone. I, Devanjali Shah, along with my co-authors from IIT Kharagpur, India, will be presenting our study, which is titled Critical Success Barrier in Rental Housing Projects, a Global Perspective on Developing Countries. As we know that rapid urbanization, population growth, and increasing economic disparity have created various urban level issues, which have collectively exhibited the public services and infrastructure stresses and leading into a critical shortage of affordable housing and escalating homelessness. And notably, we have seen that the urban housing shortage is more than 18 million units in 2012, the significant 96% affecting the urban poor. Additionally, the shift towards informal insecure housing is also pronounced, which approximately 81% of the employed individual in India residing in such condition, primarily due to the unaffordability of the formal housing option. Thus, providing housing on traditional homeownership basis is not going to solve the problem. Thus, there is a need to include various forms of rental housing arrangement from formal agreements to more flexible informal setup that can better accommodate the urban poor. Though the rental housing sector offers significant benefit like flexibility in housing choices, affordability with the minimum upfront financial commitment, job mobility, etc., they include key challenges that hinders the expansion and the effectiveness of the market. This includes the hurdles with complex approval process, financial constraint due to limited funding access, inadequate infrastructure, socio-cultural biases that favors home ownership, low rental yields that deters the investor from investing in these sectors, thus reducing the overall market dynamics. Therefore, the overall things tell us that there is an urgent need for this research aiming to propose solution that makes the rental housing more attractive and a viable option for everyone. So based on this, we have conducted a comprehensive literature study to identify the critical barriers and the research gap. And from the research study, it has been identified that that most of the previous studies are based on country-specific barriers, which aim primarily at the homeownership, sustainable and affordable housing solution. Plus, a notable concentration of these studies are also focusing on residential need of the high income earners, thus leaving a critical gap in our understanding of the barriers which are faced by the low income population. So despite this extensive body of research, there remains a profound lack of investigation into these unique challenges which are encountered in rental housing market, especially within the low income sector. So based on this, the aim of the study has been framed, that is the identify the and rank the critical success barrier in rental housing projects, a global perspective in developing countries, and it has two main objectives. First, to identify the barriers through the systematic literature review, and secondly, to rank and prioritize the barriers based on the ranking analysis. And here the detailed framework is also provided, the methodology is provided. Now, coming to objective one, a detailed methodology including the inclusive and exclusive criteria were used for the systematic literature review method. And under systematic literature review method, we have used Prisma technique, which has helped us to identify a total of 58 papers. And those 58 papers have helped us to identify 32 indicators, which are again categorized into under four domains. It is socio-cultural related barriers, regulatory and policy framework related barriers, the financial related barriers, and the building infrastructure and accessibility related barriers. Now, coming to the objective 2, which include an expert opinion survey to rank and prioritize the indicators. The detail of the experts are mentioned below. Here we have only taken into consideration the expert from developing countries. So a descriptive statistics was also conducted, which included the mean score, relative analysis of the criticalities at a normalization score, and barriers with normalization score more than 0.5 and critical barriers. And if two or more barriers are having the same normalization score, in that cases, barrier with the low standard deviation were given higher rank. And this helped us with 29 critical success barriers, which were considered for further analysis. Now we have done the Reddit analysis, that is statistical analysis for ordered qualitative measurement and detect statistical difference between the groups. Here groups means the expert, and relevant paper was also studied which used Reddit analysis in their study. So the slide shows here the detailed formulas and the procedure for the Reddit analysis which was followed in the study. And the Kruskal-Wallis test was also conducted, which showed that the null hypothesis was rejected. That is, the preferential ranking about the indicators among the experts is statistically different. And this table here shows the result of the Reddit analysis, where rank 1 depicts the most critical barriers and so on. Thus, we can say here that out of 32 critical success barriers which are identified from the literature study, normalization score will help us to reduce it to 29 barriers, and thus these 29 barriers were ranked using the Reddit analysis. And here are the top 5 ranking barriers, and the detail of it is discussed in the next slide. Thus, moving forward from our analysis, we have developed various targeted recommendation or strategies to overcome this primary barrier in rental housing development, and to ensure that there is sustainability and efficiency in the overall rental housing market. So starting with the first barrier, that is substandard housing design and construction. Here we recommend that enhancing the building code and standard to ensure higher quality and sustainability. We can also help add innovative construction technologies which can significantly speed up the construction time and reduce the cost. While a focus on universal design can also be helpful for all sort of demographics. Secondly, the limited supply of rental units, where our approach is to promote public-private partnership, and this partnership can streamline efforts and provide the necessary resources for rapid development. And by creating incentives for developers and involving community members in planning, we can ensure that new development not only meets with high demands, but also integrate well with the local needs. Third, which focuses on the stakeholders in engagement, we suggest that establishing clear communication channel to enhance interaction and collaboration among all the parties who are involved, and also supporting the formation of stakeholders association will also empower groups to advocate effectively. Then addressing insufficient public investment, we advocate for financial incentives such as tax exemption or subsidies to stimulate more private investments into the rental housing sectors. And lastly, we can say that dealing with stringent rent control policies, what we can do is that we can revisit this policy to find out what is a balancing approach that favors both the tenants and also the landlord. And promoting transparency in this policy making will actually ensure that the all the stakeholders who are involved are informed throughout the process. And implementing all these five recommendations, the top five barriers and the recommendation will actually help all the stakeholders to give us more accessible and more affordable rental housing projects. Now, what we can conclude from this is that the research on rental housing has helped us to significantly played a very important role by identifying barriers such as regulatory framework, financial constraints, socioeconomic dynamics, and infrastructure challenges. And these factors collectively shape the development and efficiency of the rental housing initiative. However, limitation of the study are mainly in two areas. Firstly, the sample size and the geographical scope. Our analysis constraints by the number of participants, that is the expert, will not fully capture the full spectrum of the perspective within this complex field. And additionally, we can say that the data primarily draws from the specific urban area, that is the developing countries, which might not limit the generalization of our study to different or rural contexts. And lastly, we can say that despite these limitations, our work contributes significantly to the field of housing economics. And on a practical level, these insights offer valuable guidelines for the policymaker, urban planners, developers, the investors, whoever is involved. Together, they can improve the overall efficacy and the accessibility of rental housing, aiming to bridge the current gap in housing availability and affordability. Now, these are my references. Thank you.
Thank you too. I would like just to ask if Dr. Noor is here. Still not. Okay. So let's move to the second presentation, which is written by Assistant Professor Ekta and Assistant Professor Dr. Razdan. Excuse me again for the pronunciation of names. The topic is about an assessment of factors influencing the choices made for rental accommodation by weaker Section A study of a neighborhood in Delhi.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm audible.
Sorry?
Hello. Yeah, ma'am, am I audible? I'm available. Ekta.
Okay.
Yeah. So, should I share the screen?
I will share it.
It is disabled. It's showing to me. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So, are you playing the video?
Yes, please stay until we finish the presentation, and later on we will have a discussion if you.
Greetings, Alanya. I am Ekta. Greetings, Alanya. Greetings, Alanya. I am Ekta from India. I am working on the topic an assessment of factors influencing the choices made for rental accommodation option by weaker section, study of neighborhood in Delhi. Fast pace of urbanization is leading to a lot of housing problems in urban areas, and globally governments are facing issues. They are struggling with how to address the housing need. World Bank states that it is amazing that rental housing as a critical component of any housing policy has remained virtually untouched in most, if not all, emerging economies, despite being the object of considerable attention and support in most developed economies. Simply said, every country has a segment of the population that cannot afford to buy a home, should not qualify for a mortgage, or simply does not want to own a home at a certain stage in their lives. There has been many theories which states that a person in their life require a rental accommodation or goes through some kind of rental accommodation in their life cycle, which we'll be discussing a bit later. Globally, also ownership housing has been very much glorified, which is very much evident with the kind of schemes, policies governments have been adopting throughout. We can see more and more a place is a city or countries are developing, the percentage of renters are increasing, as can be slightly visible with the example of Cairo 63%, Bangalore 55%, and Burley very high at 89%. With increase in urbanization, people are migrating from rural to urban areas in search of jobs and several other reasons. And especially within the weaker section, the other sections, their need of housing is fulfilled by the market as their ability to pay is there. But for weaker section, there is lack of affordability. They can't pay much, and because proper supply is not there, though they end up getting accommodated themselves in the slums. And this is the image, the map, where we can see that slum percentages have been very much in various states. Also, large cities has been less accommodating of migratory and rural populations who are usually less educated, unskilled, and lack financial resources, at least during initial periods after the migration. Globally, there have been various types of initiatives with subsidies, which has been tried to reduce the development costs, tools, rent regulations, subsidies, and tax incentives. So institutional subsidy, monthly cash subsidy, housing provident fund, rental subsidy has been practiced in South Africa, Korea, Hong Kong, Chile. Then tenant-based rental assistance has also been there in debt finance, minimum lease period for 50 years and can be increased up to occupancy assessment, etc. So like these initiatives globally has been taken up. In India, there had been very limited initiatives, and it can be seen in the form of target-based approach after the independence, and in the form of textile mill worker housing, industrial housing, employees housing, etc. Very appropriate example of rental housing, particularly for weaker section, has been public rental housing estates. But it could continue for a certain period, but after that it had to discontinue because of unrealistic way of the way the scheme was planned, and the way it was planned financially, it was very far away from the market reality. Next is MMRD rental housing schemes, with which there had been flaw in terms of design of the units. There had been lack of institutional capacity. So plus infrastructural development in those locations where these schemes have been planned. Most recent development in terms of for rental accommodations is affordable rental housing complexes under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and also model tenancy acts has been there in the place to somewhere promote rental housing. There has been various reasons as established by the literature that why this rental component could not flourish is beneficiary identification, cyclical movement of the beneficiary, financial viability, lack of institutional capacity, absence of sinking fund for rental housing, interventions of political parties, design flow in the units, design flow at neighborhood levels, adequate infrastructure provisions, and illegal renting. So to approach towards housing for all is divided into 5 major steps. And the first is an understanding of housing requirements of various income groups across age groups. Format of payment expected from target consumers, procurement of land, financing the project, and a policy environment conducive to obtaining housing for all. What I am taking further for the study is an understanding of housing requirements for various income groups through the choices. So if they are choosing, they are making a choice within the given list of various factors, and why they are choosing that, and what are the primary reasons they are choosing those. There has been many theories: life cycle theory, trade-off theory, neighborhood effects theory, spatial mobility theory, residential mobility theory. The life cycle theory states that housing choice and movement rely on family events such as formation, expansion, contraction, and dissolution. So it states that at a certain point of time in your life, when you're having a family, you're going to college, your family is becoming bigger, you tend to move from one type of housing to another. And in practice, it states that once you definitely take the option of rental housing. Trade-off theory is the idea that household maximizes their owner-occupied or rental housing utilities to offset employment accessibility measured in monetary and time commuting costs to a central workplace and retail location. So you select something to let go of some benefits. Neighborhood effects theory, it's a bundle of spatially based attributes associated with cluster of residences, sometimes in conjunction with other land uses. Housing spatial immobility theory indicates that location characteristics are inherent to any one bundle of housing attribute. Residential mobility theory, it refers to one's movement to adjust housing consumption. So 324 samples were randomly selected for the settlement Maharani Bagh, which will be showing in the next slide. Study area has been delineated, and firstly from the literature, 23 factors has been identified, and in my survey questionnaire, these were ranked by the people, and expert opinion were taken, narrative analysis, in-depth interview were performed, correlation and principal component factor, other analysis were performed. PCFA is a dimensionality reduction method that is often used to reduce the dimensionality of large data sets by transforming a large set of variables into a smaller one that still contains most information of the large set. So by applying the PCFA, I will try to identify the most important aspects in relationship with other factors, that which are the most important reasons why someone is choosing. So instead of having more number of variables, I'll be identifying the most appropriate and the relevant ones. So this is Maharani Bagh, which is situated in Delhi. And this is a map where, so the reason for choosing this area is diverse nature, diverse characteristic of this area. It has a character of planned and unplanned area, formal and informal area. There is slums, there is unauthorized colonies, there is urban village. In terms of land use, there is residential, commercial, institutional. And so this all mix of character leads to different sections of people living all together in a similar settlement, we can say. So with NDVI map, it can be seen that the east side of the study area is densely populated with congested buildings. Taimur Nagar bundle houses are two of the biggest slums within the study area. There are unauthorized construction, including parts of Khizrabad and Zakir Nagar. So, principal component factor analysis has been performed, and correlation matrix shows that each of 23 variables is associated with each other 22 variables. KMO and Bartlett's test has been performed, and it was found that KMO value is greater than 0.7, indicating sufficient items for each factor. Significant, the test is significant as the value is less than 0.05. Initial commonalities among the factors that is before rotation are above 0.3, which is good. 7 factors have hygiene values greater than 1, which is a common criteria for factors to be useful, and 95% of the variance is accounted for the first 7 factors, which again establishes that these 7 factors are very important and interrelated. After looking at the scree plot, it establishes that after 4 factors, the value is drastically decreasing. So it can be stated, actually it identifies 7 factors, but most prominent which can be seen is social factor, building factor, neighborhood factor, and utility factor. So most important standing is the social factor, which is most important aspect in making decision for housing choices, particularly for the lower income. With the right side table represents the rotated factor matrix. So the study which has been performed, it investigated a range of external and internal factors that impact the decision-making process in households. Various elements contribute to the choice of housing, with households' income being recognized as one of the crucial factors. Social factors emerge as most influential in decision-making when selecting a rental property. Additionally, the research unveiled that the households also value non-monetary aspects. The research suggests that the policymaker should analyze the preferences of buyer and prioritize the provision of housing. As a result, housing policies should guarantee that residents do not incur excessive costs for commuting to work, accessing healthcare facilities, parking, shopping due to their residence location. So this study particularly it opens up a dialogue of consideration of choice-based supply in the formal market for weaker section, which is being supplied by the informal market, but not in a livable condition. Further investigation needs to be done that how an understanding of choice factors can help develop an optimal land use in consideration of affordability, accessibility, and principle and preferences. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will ask again if Dr. Noor is here.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, because got some connection issue.
So now you will be sharing the videos.
Sorry, come again.
Now you will be sharing the videos. We are on the 3rd presentation.
Oh, I share my study is about.
No, you are the chair of the session, supposedly. So you will be sharing your video, the videos of the presentations, of the articles. Okay. So now we are on the 3rd presentation, which is the effect of occupant behavior on the residential visual environment, a case study from Algeria. Are you ready?
Hello.
Are you ready for that? Okay, so I will be sharing. The article is written by PhD candidate Makhlouf Salma and Dr. Muhammad. Excuse me, I cannot see your first name.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, thank you for accepting my participation in this conference. Me, I'm Makhlouf Salma, a PhD student in University of Guelma, Algeria, and my contribution concerns the effect of occupant behavior on the residential visual environment, a case of study from Annaba, Algeria. Getting started with the research structure, we have introduction, problematic, research method and materials, result and discussion, and conclusion. Contemporary architects are using sustainable and low energy design techniques to address the problem of excessive energy consumption and carbon dioxide emission from buildings. In residential building, improving energy efficiency means using natural light, limiting artificial lighting, and managing heat loss and energy consumption. We provide visual comfort, energy efficiency, user-friendly buildings. In Algeria, although the situation in Algeria has improved, there are still many homes that don't comply with health and safety regulations. When it comes to lighting, residents compensate the by relying on hybrid or artificial lighting. And as a result, the Algerian residential sector is one of the most energy intensive, consuming 28% primary energy and 46% from the final energy. This study presents the result of a questionnaire survey to the experience of residents of Wedelfursha settlement in Annaba. The study was designed to investigate how people behave when it comes to natural lighting in living space. About our research sample, Wedelfursha settlement located west of Annaba is northern Algeria with a built-up area of 92.2 hectares. Collective housing account for 35% of district surface area with a density over 25 dwellings per hectare in 2002. The district is bounded by the Seredi Road to the north, the Eliza Housing Estate to the east, the Bel'ed Belqasem Housing Estate to the south, and the Seredi Mountain to the west. In this study, 8 identical residential buildings were selected for this study, 4-story building and 4 apartments in each level. The current study used the post-occupancy evaluation to a questionnaire survey. In post-occupancy evaluation survey are the most important element in determining whether or non-technical feature contributed to end user satisfaction. Questions were written concisely and clear to help participants understand the purpose of the survey. 134 occupants responded to this questionnaire divided into 4 sections. The first one, domestic activities. Second, lighting mood used. The third, windows opening mood. And the last section, natural light gene source. As a result, concern domestic activities, the numerous household activities performed by the sample residents in the various areas are depicted in the graphs. We see that every room in the living area serves several purposes. The living room is commonly used for entertaining visitors, family gatherings, and watching television, according to 72.4%, 73.9%, and 75.4% of residents respectively. Almost all residents, 93.3%, use this room for eating, 63% 0.4% for relaxing, 5.2% for studying, and 8.2% for other activities. The kitchen, we have 92.5% of occupants utilize their kitchen area for cooking, 81.3% for eating, and 82.1% for doing laundry. However, the 22.4% of users use it for other jobs, and 25.4% use it for learning. The bedroom usage, we have 33.4% of residents use it for studying, and 97.8% for sleeping, and 63.4% for watching TV, and only 6% of residents use this area for additional activities. The corridor, where the corridor is undoubtedly a place of circulation, we have 6% of tenants utilize it for other purposes, such as wash on the carpet, iron the housing, and getting together with the family by opening the door and enjoying the air. The second section, lighting mood used, the graph shows that with 53.7% of total lighting, artificial lighting is the most frequently used lighting option. Artificial lighting coming at 33.6% and natural lighting at 12.7%. The third section, window opening mood, as per the graph, a mere 12.7% of inhabitants open their windows just for the sake of illumination. Still, 66.4% of local claim to just open their blinds. Yet, 20.9% of people simultaneously open their buildings and windows. The last section about natural hygiene source, the majority of residents, 68.7%, reported having issues with their living areas' natural illumination. However, 31.3% of respondents believe that there are no barrier to natural sunlight, while 35.7% of respondents are worried about privacy, and 15.2% of respondents claim that the placement of trees in the outside gardens was to blame for the absence of natural light in inside space. 8% stated that the sandy breeze was a source of discomfort, and 25.9% said that noise from the outdoor kept people from taking use of natural illumination. As a conclusion, as a part of post-occupancy evaluation of natural lighting in the residential area of Wedelforshah settlement in Annaba, the study evaluates the behavior of occupants as they perform different household activities in different areas of the home. We found that these rooms combine several functions in addition to their main ones, so the need for light is different. Ambient lighting is the most commonly used lighting mode, followed by artificial lighting. The majority of residents had problems using daylight, mainly due to privacy concerns. Some residents also indicated that the location of trees, sand breeze, and outside noise were source of discomfort. Occupants found a solution of these problems of seclusion by settling for artificial lighting as an alternative. And thank you for attention.
Thank you. Let's see the next presentation. The next presentation is okay. Allow me please to keep it until the end, just to be able to open it. So the next presentation will be about the exploration of child-friendly and Generation Z urban spaces by Associate Professor Dr. Hurash Ahmad Nia and Dr. Riham Nadi Farrella.
Hello, everyone. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Riham Nadi Faragalla. I'm an associate professor in Farus University in Alexandria, Egypt. And this paper is a collaboration between me and Professor Hurash Ahmad Nia. He's also an associate professor in Alanya University in Turkey. The title of our research is Exploration of Child-Friendly and Generation Z Urban Spaces. Let's have a background about the research topic, that there is nowadays a rapid urbanization, high traffic density, and lack of open spaces that are noticeable challenges which restrict children from living their normal childhood. Thus, it is important to support more initiatives to help these children enjoy their outdoor environment by considering their functional, social, psychological, and aesthetical needs. Thus, creating safe, child-friendly open spaces that are mainly required for playing and contributed to protect children from traffic injuries and crimes. So this research will be discussed through three main parts. The first part is the literature review, which contains the relation between urbanization and its impact on children and young people, and the importance of outdoor urban spaces for children, and the children activity needs in urban spaces. The second part is the analytical study, which deals with some international examples for child-friendly urban spaces. And the third part is the results and the conclusion that deals with the design principles for child-friendly urban spaces. The research problem is that children live in crowded, unsafe, and polluted environments, and also cities fail to encounter the needs, expectations, and wishes of children and offer safe environments to spend their time. Also, the high-rise and high-density urban development have squeezed children's activity spaces. All these problems led children to face challenges in their current daily life, represented in traffic and pollution, high-rise urban sprawl, crime, social fears and risk aversion, inadequate and unequal access to urban spaces, isolation and intolerance. Thus, the research aims to introduce an adapted design model for safe, child-friendly open spaces through addressing the needs of children and Generation Z and fulfill their rights in a comprehensive manner, seek to design urban spaces with the need of children in mind, explore the design of child-friendly urban spaces to meet the child's needs as a target user, and finally to propose guidelines for child-friendly environments. The importance of outdoor urban spaces for children shows a very important topic these days, because all research shows that physical surroundings in which children grow influence and shape their interactions, development, and experience of life into adulthood. Thus, it is important to support more initiatives to help children enjoy their outdoor environment by considering their functional, social, psychological, and aesthetical needs, and thus creating safe, child-friendly open spaces that are mainly required for playing and contributed to protect these children from traffic injuries and crimes. This importance led to investigating the needs of children and Generation Z in these urban spaces, which are their psychological needs that are represented in their family support, the feeling of intimacy, self-reliance, understanding the context, self-expression, and the need of calm. There are also social needs such as privacy and communication, functional needs presented in activity, design needs, lighting and shading, climatic needs represented in security and playing needs. Then we have analyzed some child-friendly urban spaces presented in La Forteville Toddler Playground in Paris, France. This is a French urban planning and the French urban planning and architectural firm Espace has designed a multifunctional residual space to be a toddler's playground. This playground includes features that encourage exploration in which children can develop their creativity. It is divided into 3 parts: a raised area for adults, a central space for children, and a plot area. And approximately or nearly all the needs of children was achieved through the functional needs were achieved by sitting areas that show simplicity in form and comfort, and it allows parents to monitor their children easily. Psychological needs, the design facilitates playing in and interact with the outdoor space, and there is a balance between green areas and other activities. Aesthetical needs, the proportions of the form of the garden are appropriate to the scale of the child, and it provides visual correspondences between the element of the landscape and its relation with the child. Social needs, creative activity fields are available where through the help of landscape elements and the walkways that change to a black chalkboard. Also, there is super block of Sant Antoni, Barcelona in Spain, which was previously an urban highway, and it has been turned to a healthy street full of life and green. Also here, all the children needs were achieved through functional needs. The priority was for pedestrians, then comes for the bicycles and public transportation. Children can use the space to play without any worrying about traffic. Also, their physiological needs were achieved through the space, which offers users a safe, less polluted place to spend quality time through reducing harmful environmental exposures, such as noise and air pollution. Also, aesthetically, the use of natural elements, site furniture with the aim of gaining shared green and safe spaces for children, and their social needs were accomplished through creative activity fields through the help of landscape elements and the walkway that changes to a black chalkboard. There is also other examples such as Tampa in Florida in USA. It is a place for outdoor events, and it was this park is transformed with activities and sound system for children and adults of all ages. It is made up of sustainable, connected, safe places, distinctive and diverse open spaces that are well connected to the community. It also presented all the needs of children by being safe and easily accessible on foot or by bike. Users can make shopping and have restaurants and cafes surrounding by the park. There are also various colors that attracts children and young people to play, and there is also a variety of sitting areas for children to socialize and interact with each other. Finally, the Children Park for Civilization and Creativity found in Cairo, Egypt, which is considered the first of its kind that serves as a public cultural source designed mainly for children, for creative education, inventive work, and participatory learning methods. This park tried to accomplish and achieve all children needs, as it is a non-formal learning space that is responsible for safeguarding the cultural heritage through transmission to future generations and raising awareness of its importance. Also, the garden embraces a theater for concerts and puppet shows, a cinema with 3D projection facilities, a library with educational literature, outdoor classrooms for creative and musical activities, a big playground, and a gift shop and a cafeteria. The main entrance is a path to a museum that represents an integration of two colorful and vibrant models. It also includes some artwork, painting, ceramics, and other crafts that may be practiced in the garden. Concerning the social needs, there are some social practices, rituals, festive events, and traditional craftsmanship. After analyzing these four examples, it was found that there are some design principles that can be adopted in the design of child-friendly urban spaces, which are safety, through where the children can play spontaneously and independently, through high visibility and to be recognizable. Urban spaces should be suitable for children's physiological and psychological characteristics, which means that it is important to design and set up facilities specifically for children from the perspective of them. Also, to be walkable, which means that the urban space should be adaptable and flexible to accommodate the diverse needs of families such as strollers, wheelchairs, bicycles, and scooters. To be accessible spaces by ensuring that urban spaces are easy to reach, navigate, and use by providing a variety of transportation options such as public transit, car sharing, bike sharing, and walking. Also, to be connected to green areas or to be connected to the nature, where designers should follow the design principles of environmental protection, greenness, using soft and durable materials, diversity and inclusion, which means to ensure that these urban spaces are welcoming and respectful for different cultures, backgrounds, and preferences of families. And finally, using rich colors to attract children's attention by using different color blocks, enhancing their perception and aesthetic conscious of colors while playing. So all these 7 principles were concluded as a framework or as a criteria or guidelines for designers and architects that can help them to design child-friendly urban spaces. Thanks so much for your attention.
Thank you for this interesting presentation. Just received a comment from Dr. Asma, said, I like the idea, I hope to see more spaces like this. So now we move to the next presentation, which is the role of users' socio-spatial behavior in fostering sustainable retail district projects in Bahrain by PhD candidate Afaf Ibrahim and Professor Najla Al-Anni.
Hello, my name is Afaf Ibrahim. I'm a lecturer at the University of Bahrain and a PhD candidate in the architecture program. This research was done as one of the requirements for one of the courses in the program with Professor Najla Al-Anni. It's under the title, The Role of Users, Socio-Spatial Behavior in Fostering Sustainable Retail District Projects in Bahrain. This research focuses on the inconsistency in the popularity of shopping district projects as public retail destinations in Bahrain, affecting the project's sustainability and success. The objectives are to understand the stakeholders' experiences, comprehend social behavior in response to the built environment, as well as identifying specifics and features of factors affecting human behavior in space. The aim is to highlight on key factors to aid social sustainability, which fosters the planning of sustainable commercial projects in Bahrain. Architecture projects face a lot of challenges, such as time, cost, and performance to become a successful one. Project performance holds a very critical element, which is socio-spatial relationship, which is also representing the social dimensions in the project. According to Dempsey et al., they define the social dimensions as a strategy for creating vibrant, sustainable communities that promote well-being by taking into account what residents desire and need for their way of life. According to the United Nations, it is important to measure and track economic, environmental, and social development in all nations to maintain a sustainable development in these nations. That's why social sustainability is one of the important factors and development goals that should be achieved in the projects. Taking retail project as an example of an architectural project, we are raising 2 questions here. Are shopping districts in Bahrain socially sustainable? What factors influence the effectiveness of shopping district design to make it a successful, sustainable, timeless project? By conducting a co-occurrence analysis of keywords, we notice that there are 3 keywords that are closely connected: social sustainability, sustainable architecture, and practice. By achieving social sustainability, we are achieving SDG goal number 11 by maintaining healthy cultural and social interaction in communities. It is important to address social and cultural dimensions in the built environment and its impact on place attachment with the users. Retail developments are quite important because retail settings offer a great way to research consumers' behavior and the physical and social aspects that characterize a community. This in turn influences the characteristics of the space. Maintaining social vibrancy in shopping areas and promoting social inclusion should be key objectives of a successful retail policy. In Bahrain, the government is paying a lot of effort to diversify economy, which is focusing on commercial development in Bahrain. But that also faces a lot of challenges, such as population's increasing disposable income and purchasing power are driving consumer consumption, as well as increasing popularity of malls and retail centers, drawing in customers with a wide range of shopping experiences, which is challenging open retail districts. For this research, the methodology used comes in 3 stages. Stage 1, conducting questionnaires from which the selection of case study is done, and the literature review to derive the best SWOT analysis criteria. Stage 2 is conducting interviews with the stakeholders of these projects, review the documents of them, and on-site observation from which the social-spatial analysis is done. And stage 3 is to have the data analysis and interpretation of this data. The SWOT analysis criteria was derived by the study done by Kefiati and Master Zada, summarizing 5 criteria in which the social sustainability can be assessed in an architectural project. From the findings that we received from the questionnaire, in addition to the understanding the demographic information of the respondents, we came to know the opinions of their experience and their perception of their experience in the favorite retail districts. What we are getting from this questionnaire is their preference of their best retail district in Bahrain. The majority chose Al-Liwan as their the best retail and recreational destination in Bahrain, while Saada waterfront was the least one to be chosen. So we took these 2 projects and compared them in the analysis later on. These are the statements that were included in the questionnaire, and we can see that the majority strongly agree that environmental and walkability are one of the factors that should be included in the design of these retail districts. These are the answers we received from the interviewees, who are the developers of these 2 projects, to get a valuable insight of these projects and have them integrated in the analysis later on. The 2 projects, Al-Liwan is located in Al-Hamala area, which is located in the northwest area of Bahrain, while Saada waterfront is located in Muharraq on the northeast side of Bahrain. We noticed from Al-Liwan, we observed the movement of people and how they behave around the different areas in the project. We noticed that they cluster around the dining areas mainly, and the piazzas and with the water features and the gardens. We also noticed that they take the easy access from the different car parks all around the blocks. It is observed also that the freedom of movement was quite flexible all around the blocks, and the services are provided right in the middle, in between all the services. While Saada waterfront can be observed here that it is much less in attracting the visitors, although the flexibility is there, reaching to the features of the project from the car park. However, the restriction of movement due to the dead ends of both sides of the project, it is restricting the accessibility to the different features of the project itself. So the comparison is done between Saada Waterfront and a Liwan project using the criteria derived from the literature review. It is noticed that Liwan holds the biggest advantages, while the only advantage that Saada has is regarding its location, since it is related to the historical and heritage site connected to Muharraq Souk. 87% prefer open space retail district, as is known from the questionnaire. 69.2% agree that environmental aesthetics are an important factor. Social sustainability, it's not just the number or the crowdness, but it's also the quality of the spatial design and the comfort consideration. The location is a crucial factor affecting the attraction of the visitors, as well as there are 5 key factors affecting the social sustainability in an architecture project, which are listed as social interactions, flexibility, architectural identity, social participation, and a sense of security. To conclude, it is evident from the findings that social sustainability can be achieved at the very early stage of the project planning, and also the profitability of the project can be planned at that early stage when the social sustainability factors are considered. The social spatial behavior of the users is greatly affected by the quality of design and provision of human needs that can shape the framework towards a sustainable retail project. The research has its limitations, where more site visits could be conducted to have more data and more validation of the results. The more case studies can be explored and analyzed, as well as more interviews with experts and officials can give a valuable insight to the research. And that's it for now. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for this presentation. So the last one will be public housing provision in Nigeria, quality, perception, and application for low-income earners, from Associate Professor Kehinde Akande and Dr. Oluseun Olukemi. So I will try to open it since we just received it. Sorry, I will have to open it this way to be faster.
I'm Oluwafemi Akonde. I'm making this presentation in collaboration with Oluseun Olukemi Olubajo and Yusuf Ibrahim on public housing provision in Nigeria, quality, perception, and implications for low-income earners. In developing countries, the demand for quality public housing outweighs the quantity of public housing. In Africa specifically, substandard housing has a major impact on all human settlements, whether they are urban or rural. Albeit, urban settlements are arguably more deeply ingrained. In Nigeria, investigation into the quality of public housing provision for low-income earners in urban cities are limited. So one challenge or problem is that Nigeria's high population growth has not been matched by an increase in housing supply. Therefore, rapid urban population is explained by increased rural-urban migration. The problem we try to address in our research is that we observe that the problem of housing in Nigeria goes from residential housing adequacy to housing quality, as posited by Animation 2010. In Nigeria, the problem of housing has social, psychological, environmental, and cultural impact on the populace. So one challenge or problem is that Nigeria's high population growth has not been matched by an increase in housing supply. In order to address this issue, it demands creative ideas and strategies to boost the availability of affordable housing options for this demographic. The aim of our study is to assess public housing quality for low-income earners in Abuja, Nigeria. Our objective 1 is to assess the influence of housing quality on low-income earners. 2, to assess the performance of the quality of housing towards enhancing the occupant well-being. And 3, to determine the need for low-income housing provision for low-income earners. In our literature review, we established that there are certain deficiencies in Nigerian housing conditions that are qualitative and quantitative in nature. The qualitative shortcomings are severe and intricate. Meanwhile, the quantitative housing issue could be resolved by expanding the stock that is now in place. Now, the development of slum communities on the outskirts of almost every urban center in Nigeria is the most detrimental result of housing supply constraint and housing disparity. So we have a complex circle of poverty that puts significant strain on the health, the livelihoods, and the general well-being of the urban fringe poor, which has entrenched itself and make it difficult and resulting to substandard housing conditions for the household holders in Nigeria. In our methodology, we adopted a survey research design and quantitative means to collect and the use of questionnaire to collect our data. Quantitative data was specifically collected using stratified random sampling procedure in order to get a representative sample of low-income individuals and families in our study location. Our target group consists of low-income earners and representatives from low-income neighborhoods in the study area. We determine our sample size by using the Taro-Yamani of 1967 method to calculate our sample size, which is displayed on the screen. So given a population of over 1,000, we're able to calculate our sample size and arrive at one minimum of 100 housing units. And in our data analysis, we make use of relative importance index, which is RRI, which is being ranked from 0.00 to 1.00, and they all have their decision rule. The formula for RRI is displayed on the screen. Furthermore, in our data analysis procedure, we made use of mean item score. The mean item score is being ranked from 1.00 to 5.00, and they have their decision rule as shown in Table 1. The formula for the mean item score, which we summarize as MIS, is displayed on the screen. The Table 1 shows the decision rule for the data analysis. The scale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 shows us the RRI from 0.01 to 1.0, and then an MIS from 4.51 to 5.0 downwards. Then we have the level of agreement, which is strongly agree, agree, undecided, disagree, strongly disagree, and their interpretation in terms of level of importance and level of effective as displayed on the screen. To obtain a robust result for this study, we used measurement skills, and reliability tests in order to verify the validity of our results. Crowbar Alpha was also used to measure the reliability of the data, and with all the parameters showing nearly equal reliability coefficient. Now, out of 158 questionnaires that were sent out to our respondents, we obtained 150 questionnaires back, which gave us 95% response rate. This is robust enough and good enough to give us a robust outcome in our research. We had 67% male and 33% female among our respondents, with a higher concentration in the age group ranging from 26 to 35 years and 36 to 45 years old. Now, the age distribution in our study is relatively spread out, with no single age group dominating significantly. Now, in presenting our result, we present our result in 4 tables. We have table 2, which shows that the respondents generally agree that the quality of their house affects their access to loans, safety, and security, which may be indifferent or disagree on other factors such as social lifestyle and utility bills. In table 3, where we have the housing quality that enhances well-being of the occupants, it highlights the specific issues that relate to housing quality, which impact the well-being of the occupant. It also provides valuable insight into areas that may need attention for improvement, and also guiding potential intervention for policy changes in future. Now, in our table 4, we present the critical indicators of housing for low-income earners as can be seen on the screen. The findings on table 4, from these findings, we have the environmental dimensions. The attention to environmental conditions such as wind direction and climatic factor receive a very high MIS of 4.28, and with a strong agreement of RRI of the respondent, which result to 0.66. In the economic dimension result, we consider the cost of the housing concerning the occupant's economic status, which gave us MIS of 3.19 and with a disagreement of RRI of 0.44. Now, the social dimension factors, such as the importance of social network with social capital generation capability, gave us the result of MIS of 4.05 and RRI of 0.61. In the cultural dimensions, accessibility to social infrastructure gave us a MIS of 3.88, RRI of 0.58. Fitting the natural lifestyle of occupant gave us the MIS of 3.43 and RRI of 0.49. And consideration for distinct historical and cultural traits gave us MIS of 3.98 and RRI of 0.60. All these were agreed upon. The implication of this is that the result shows how the public housing quality for low-income earners can be addressed. From this study, we could conclude that most low-income earners are unsatisfied with their place of residence, as what is presented to them as affordable housing are economically expensive to procure and to maintain. In furtherance to this result, the economic considerations, such as the cost of housing relative to the economic status of occupants, seem to be less prioritized and potentially reflecting challenges in balancing affordability with quality. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your article. Does anyone have any question to anyone?
No, thank you, Doctor.
So, if not, I would like to ask Dr. Rihan, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
I have a question for you about the park in Cairo. Where is it specifically located, and on average, how many children can access to it like per day? And is it easy? I mean, is it affordable? like on a broader spectrum, let's say?
The location of the park is in Heliopolis. Yes, it's affordable for the young people, toddlers, and their parents too. And it contains a big museum for them, for the children. Sometimes they make festivals, special events in it. That's why I chose it to compare it with the other examples and to extract the design guidelines for the best children-friendly urban spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, so it combines the exploratory and playfulness and educational.
Educational, yes. It contains several activities: exploratory, educational, entertainment, everything. That's why I chose it. It's not very big. It's not very big, but it accomplish all the activities.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we are at the end of.
Please share, if you allows me, I have some questions. Two questions, please. So, starting presenting myself, Dr. Bouzir from Algeria. I have two questions. Firstly, thank you so much for all the presenters for this very interesting and rich presentation. Thank you so much, giving us the opportunity to get all this information. So the first question is for Dr. Riham. First question is for Dr. Riham, is about
Yes.
The presentation was very interesting. I very like the systematic method of comparison different location or different site. My question is about the aesthetical aspect. Why you think that the aesthetical aspect is interesting, and how we can measure it for especially for children users? So how we can measure this aspect? This question is fundamental for us as architects. We are always looking on how we can measure, how we can say that this building or site is aesthetical or no. So why it's important, and how did you measure it?
Okay. Concerning the aesthetical
Especially
needs.
talking with yes, especially talking about children. Is colors mean that is beautiful? Yes, no.
Yes, concerning the aesthetical needs, it's important for children, and it can be achieved through different colors, different textures, sizes. All these things are attractive for children. That's why I considered it as one of the needs and one of the concerns that is mainly will be a guideline to design these spaces, because the colors and the things like that always attract young children. How it can be assessed or evaluated, there is nothing measurable, because as you said, we are architects, we can say this is good and this is no, but maybe it is based on several surveys I have read in different papers, and they extracted or observed that this is an essential need for children. Otherwise, they are not attracted, they will not go to the space, they are not connected to the space. These needs make them remember the space, and they want to go it once again. Nothing is really measurable for me. It's based only on references and other sources done by other academic papers. Yeah.
Yes, but
But
if I will understand your answer, I believe that you, and I can agree with you, you linked it strongly to attractivity, and you use the word colors at many times.
Yes, yes. Colors is very main point, attractive point for children.
Yeah, especially I believe that if we ask, if we try to define the word aesthetic from the point of view of children, we find ourselves absolutely talking about colors,
Yes, yes, yes.
shapes, maybe.
Actually, as
Thank
an
you.
expert in neuroscience applied to architecture, I can tell you that we can measure some of these variables, let's say aesthetically, when we measure the level of, which parts of the brain are highlighted or are stimulated from the colors and from the shapes.
Wow.
We can understand that there's a level of satisfaction in a space and not in another. So this is how we can also know in a measurable way.
Thank you so much for this compliment information. And thank you for Dr. Riham also for the clear answer. And I have a second question, if it's possible, Sheikh.
We still have, we are already past the time. We still have 1 or 2 minutes maximum, if possible.
So to Dr. Amal from Bahrain, the study from Bahrain, if it's here, if he is here, she is here. So the question is about the keywords presented in the beginning of their paper. From what they bring these keywords, the figure of keywords. So from which is the source of this keywords?
Hello, I
Presented by
think
the graph of
you
both
mean
viewers.
Afaf or Amal, I'm not sure, because I use the keywords in my research. You mean Afaf?
No, the study about Bahrain
The
and
retail districts in Bahrain?
yes, Dr.
Yes, yes.
Amal, PhD student, yes, Amal.
Afaf, I think. Yeah, I mean, I use the keywords in my research. I use the VOS viewer by getting the database from different studies related with these keywords, like the social sustainability and architecture and retail environment. So when you get all of these things together,
Excellent.
you will see the map that is linking these
Excellent.
main keywords together.
Please, I'm sorry to cut you, but this is my question was about what is the main source of these papers? Are published in Bahrain or worldwide?
No, worldwide.
Not only in Bahrain.
It's all like random
So,
scholars researching about this topic. Yeah.
So my متواضع recommendation is it will be more interesting to take studies from the same context, even not only Bahrain, but for example, Gulf countries will be more represented and useful for this type of study, which is very excellent. I congratulate you of this interesting results.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for everyone's interventions. Now we should go to the fourth roundtable. And I will start without any introduction due to the time. We'll start directly with the first presentation, which is biophilic design in office buildings, a salutogenic approach to enhancing well-being in the built environment. It's a research done by Associate Professor Dr. Asma Ramadan Al-Antari, if I'm correct with the pronunciation.
Hello everyone, I'm Asma Al-Antari from Jubail Industrial College, Architecture and Planning Department. I'll be talking about my research paper titled Biophilic Design in Office Buildings, a salutogenic approach to enhancing well-being in the built environment. This presentation will explore the biophilic design principles in office buildings, focusing on promoting well-being and creating salutogenic environments. It investigates key aspects of biophilic design, such as natural lighting, views of nature, indoor plants, and natural materials, and study their impacts on occupants, well-being, and productivity. The study uses a mixed method approach, combining qualitative surveys and qualitative interviews with office employees. The results reveal that biophilic design elements contribute to improved well-being, including increased job satisfaction, reduced stress level, and enhanced productivity. The study highlights the significance of natural elements in mitigating the negative effects of an active work environment. The research provides empirical evidence supporting the implementation of biophilic design in offices, emphasizing the benefits of a connection with nature for a well-being and productivity. There are 5 main parts in this presentation: the introduction and literature review, which includes background and the context of biophilic design in office spaces; the methodology, which describes the research design, including the selection of office spaces and participants; the part for results and analysis. It includes the presentation of the collected data, statistical analysis of the data as well, and the part for the discussion, which analyzes the implication and significance of the results, and at the end, the conclusion, which summarizes the main findings and their implications. Actually, biophilic design, inspired by natural connection to the outdoors and bringing elements of nature into buildings to improve people's well-being, and this is achieved through features like natural lighting, natural views, and plants, natural material, and creating spaces that promote health and vitality. The research hypothesis includes that the integration of biophilic design elements in office spaces will positively affect the well-being and the productivity of occupants as measured by improved mood and reduced stress levels. It also increases the cognitive function and enhances the job satisfaction rates. The study employed a mixed method approach encompassing quantitative surveys and interviews with employees. Quantitative analysis of the survey data revealed compelling associations between the presence of biophilic design elements in office buildings and various aspects of employee well-being. Participants who reported higher exposure to biophilic design elements exhibited significantly higher levels of overall well-being. In addition, also, an intriguing finding emerged from the analysis, indicating a positive correlation between biophilic design elements and job satisfaction. The study also revealed a significant negative correlation between biophilic design elements and the stress levels. The qualitative analysis of the interviews transcripts provided further depth to the quantitative findings. Participants consistently expressed a sense of calm and relaxation in biophilic environments, describing them as rejuvenating and refreshing. The combination between the quantitative and the qualitative findings support the notion that the incorporation of biophilic design principles in office buildings positively influence employee well-being. These results also highlight the significance of integrating biophilic design strategies in office environments to create salutogenic spaces that enhance employee well-being and productivity. The part for the discussion includes the findings of this study and provides convincing evidence of the positive impact of biophilic design elements on employee well-being in office buildings. It also supports the growing agreement that the integration of natural elements in the built environment can significantly enhance the quality of workspaces, and these findings have important implications for architects, designers, and employees seeking to create more conducive and human-centric office environments. The qualitative insights from participants' interviews provide also deeper understanding of the subject experience and perceptions of individuals in biophilic environments. Participants consistently reported feeling of calmness, relaxation, and a greater sense of connection to nature. And these quantitative findings highlight the potential psychological and emotional benefits of biophilic design, which includes increased creativity, improved focus, and enhanced overall well-being. Architects and designers can control these insights to create office spaces that support the cognitive and emotional needs of employees, ultimately fostering a more positive and satisfying work experience. In conclusion, architects, designers, and employers need to recognize the potential benefits of incorporating biophilic design principles in office building by creating such spaces that prioritize the integration of natural elements. We can foster a stronger connection between individuals and the natural world, which will be resulting in increased well-being, job satisfaction, and reduced stress levels among employees. So in this paper, the results align with prior studies, providing further evidence to support the established understanding of biophilic design and its importance in office design. In summary, the findings of this study highlight the importance of incorporating biophilic design elements in office buildings to enhance employee well-being, job satisfaction, and stress levels. By embracing biophilic design principles, architects, designers, and employers can create healthier, more engaging, and sustainable work environments that prioritize the holistic well-being and productivity of office occupants. Here are some references for your information, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Asma. Now we go to the next presentation, which is optimizing classroom design with cytogenic approach, thermal comfort, daylighting, and attentiveness, by Assistant Professor Amalan Sigmund Goshik and Aisha Firdaus.
Dinesh Kumar, and I'm very excited to present our research paper titled Optimizing Classroom Design with a Salutogenic Approach on thermal comfort, lighting, and attentiveness, written under the guidance of our Professor Amalan Sigmund Kaushik. To begin with, thermal comfort is defined as a condition of mind that expresses satisfaction with the thermal environment. Integrating daylight into the building aims to connect occupants with the outdoor, reinforce natural circadian rhythm, and reduce reliance on electrical lighting. Attentiveness is defined as a state or quality of being attentive, focused, and cognitively engaged with a subject matter, and is shaped by both environmental factors and individual traits. This research paper addresses the deficiency in traditional educational space design, which has prioritized quantitative aspects such as lighting and temperature while overlooking the qualitative dimensions of attentiveness. So to bridge this gap, there is a pressing need to adopt a holistic approach that integrates qualitative aspects of attentiveness with quantitative user comfort factors, which was as the aim of the research. This is done through surveys and through field experiments. Research consistently shows a significant link between thermal comfort and cognitive performance, and daylight and appropriate lighting are crucial for attentiveness in educational setting. A research by Dabakian suggests that engaging teaching methods and interactive learning environments can sustain students' attention and promote active participation. Attention monitoring can be attributed to various factors including environment disruption, cognitive overload, and individuals' predispositions. Research by Cisco and Dunn and Unsworth and Robertson indicates that attention lapses often occur after prolonged cognitive effort or when stimuli fail to maintain interest. Understanding these factors can help in designing interventions to minimize distractions and maintain student focus. Moving on to standards for conducting field experiments with respect to thermal comfort, ASHRAE 55 has been taken as standards. As of ASHRAE 55, the comfort zone is defined by a combination of 6 key factors which gives us critical mean mood index, which is PMV. If this PMV falls under a range of minus 0.5 to plus 0.5, it is said to be comfortable. So these key 6 factors are the ambient air temperature, the mean radiant temperature, along with applicable metabolic rate, clothing insulation, airspeed, and humidity. The field measurements are taken in 5 points as of actual 55. One in the center of the lecture hall, the other 4, 1 meter away from 4 walls, at a height of 0.6 meter, as the users are usually seated in a lecture hall. The field measurements for lux levels are measured at an appropriate work plane, which is 1 meter in lecture hall, and measurements are taken on a 3 meter plus 3 meter grid. We have proceeded for this research by starting off by reviewing various literatures and identifying the research gap. And then we identified 2 identical lecture halls, LH1 and LH3, located in the Department of Architecture in the campus of National Institute of Technology, TÜRKİYE, in India, as a suitable site of study. Lecture hall 3 had blackened windows to reduce glare, while lecture hall 1 had non-blackened windows. In this lecture hall, both field experiments and questionnaire surveys were taken. Field experiments include measuring air temperature, low temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and daylight, which cumulatively gives predictive mean vote. And this PMV is compared with benchmark. The questionnaire survey assesses thermal comfort satisfaction, visual comfort satisfaction, and the attentiveness and engagement of the users after an hour's lecture. This data is analyzed, and we have come to inferences. So this shows the plan of the architecture department, and in which both the lecture halls have been shown. Delving deeper into the plans and elevations of the lecture hall, which gives us the window wall ratio. So this shows the plans of the data recorded for PMV and lux levels. The equipments used primarily are delta Voisin thermal microclimate data logger for PMV and light meter for lux levels. So the data for field measurements and the surveys have been collected at 3 times morning, afternoon, and evening of a day for each lecture hall. So the morning session is in a time frame of 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., the afternoon being 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., and the evening session is we take.
I will just try to check the sound again to see if it is like this or not.
Lighting and temperature by overlooking the qualitative dimensions of attentiveness. So to bridge this gap, there is a pressing need to adopt 6 key factors which gives us critical mean vote index, which is PMV. If this PMV falls under a range of minus 0.5 to plus 0.5, it is said to be comfortable. So these key 6 factors are the ambient air temperature, the mean radiant temperature, along with applicable metabolic rate, clothing insulation, airspeed, and humidity. The field measurements are taken in 5 points as of actual 55. 1 in the center of the lecture hall, the other 4, 1 meter away from 4 walls, at a height of 0.6 meter, as the users are usually seated in a lecture hall. The field measurements for lux levels are measured at an appropriate work plane, which is 1 meter in lecture hall, and measurements are taken on a 3 meter plus 3 meter grid. We have proceeded for this research by starting off by reviewing various literatures and identifying the research gap. And then we identified 2 identical lecture halls, LH1 and LH3, located in the Department of Architecture in the campus of National Institute of Technology, TÜRKİYE, in India, as a suitable site of study. Lecture hall 3 had blackened windows to reduce glare, while lecture hall 1 had non-blackened windows. In this lecture hall, both field experiments and questionnaire surveys were taken. Field experiments include measuring air temperature, low temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and daylight, which cumulatively gives predictive mean vote. And this PMV is compared with benchmark. The questionnaire survey assesses thermal comfort satisfaction, visual comfort satisfaction, and the attentiveness and engagement of the users after an hour's lecture. This data is analyzed, and we have come to inferences. So this shows the plan of the architecture department, and in which both the lecture halls have been shown. Delving deeper into the plans and elevations of the lecture hall, which gives us the window wall ratio. So this shows the plans of the data recorded for PMV and lux levels. The equipments used primarily are delta Voisin thermal microclimate data logger for PMV and light meter for lux levels. So the data for field measurements and the surveys have been collected at 3 times morning, afternoon, and evening of a day for each lecture hall. So the morning session is in a time frame of 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., the afternoon being 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., and the evening session is being taken from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., where each session is being taken with users in a range of 30 to 40.
So, coming to the question survey was conducted to assess the student engagement and attentiveness during 1 hour lecture. Survey was conducted after the 1 hour lecture. We asked the students about thermal comfort, visual comfort, glare, attentiveness, and engagement during the lecture. The question used scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the least comfortable or attentive, and 5 being the most comfortable or attentive. So, coming to the results of both qualitative recorded data and the qualitative survey. We presently, the slide shows about the PMV values that which were recorded at center points of all the walls and the center of the classroom. And here we can see the recorded lux levels of LH1 with 32.4 as minimum and 82.9 as maximum for the morning session, and 49.8, 115.2 as minimum and maximum for the afternoon session, and 40.6 as minimum and 188.6 being the maximum in evening for LH1. And presently we can see the LH3 recorded lux levels with 8 being minimum and 13.9 being maximum for the morning session, and 7.2 as minimum and 16.8 as maximum for the afternoon session, and 13.5 as minimum and 9.9 as maximum for the evening session. Come to the results of field measurements conducted in the 2 lecture halls. The field measurements focused on thermal comfort and daylight availability. Thermal comfort was assessed during the predicted mean vote index with the lower PMV values indicating greater comfort. Daylight availability was measured in lux LU unit limits. We observed that the average PMV values in LH1 is lower than LH3. This suggests that the LH1 is comparatively thermally comfortable than LH3. The reason for this difference is likely due to the self-shading of the building for LH1 and re-radiation due to blackening of windows in LH3. However, both the lecture hall is also better lit than LH3. After considering both the PMV and the daylight levels, comparing them to the relevant standards, we can see that the daylight availability is the key polling factor. And here we see the results of the questionnaire survey on thermal comfort in lecture hall 1 and lecture hall 3. Survey asked about the students with their thermal comfort during the morning, afternoon, evening lecture. They responded on a scale of completely dissatisfied to completely satisfied. We see on average, students found lecture hall 1 to be more comfortable than LH3. There is a major difference in the comfort levels between the 2 lecture halls. It is important to note that these results are based on the subjective perceptions of thermal comfort and may not reflect actual temperatures. The reason might be due to the orientation of the lecture halls and the solar gain due to the orientation of lecture hall 3, and then self-shading for the building in LH1, and covering of the upper set of windows in lecture hall 1 of both the walls, and re-radiation due to the blackening of windows in LH3. And also the visual comfort in LH1 and LH3 are based on a questionnaire survey. Students were asked about their perception of visual comfort ranging from very poor to very good. We see lecture hall 1 is perceived as being significantly and more visually comfortable than LH3. This is likely due to the fact that the windows in LH3 are blackened, and then which reduces the amount of daylight in the hall. Lecture hall 1 has windows on both sides, but the upper windows are covered with the curtains. This helps you to achieve a balance between having enough lit and avoiding overly lit space. The survey results show that the students reported higher engagement in lecture hall 1 compared to the lecture hall 3. 2 possible reasons for this difference might include the predicted mean vote levels, which were lower in lecture hall 1 compared to lecture hall 3, and lower PMV values indicate the more comfortable environment. And the prime polling fact could be due to sufficiently lit or well-lit conditions in LH1. And we acknowledge the possible reasons are based on the survey data, and further investigation is still needed to confirm the exact causes. And when compare the quantitative data of lux levels measured in lecture halls 1 and 3 with the qualitative data on visual comfort obtained from the visuals questionnaire survey, the graph on the left shows the average lux levels in the lecture hall 1 is higher than the lecture hall 3. Higher lux levels correspond to the brighter spaces. The survey results also align with the lux level measurements. Students reported that the lecture hall 1 had better visual comfort than lecture hall 3. The possible reason for the differences in visual comfort in the lecture hall 3 is due to the blackened out windows and reducing the amount of daylight availability. Lecture hall 1 has windows on 2 sides, but the upper windows are covered with the curtains. The design allows for more natural lighting while still reducing the glare. The slide compares lighting levels and engagement in 2 lecture hall 1 and lecture hall 3. The graph shows that the LH1 has significantly higher lux levels than LH3 throughout the day. That's a unit of illuminance. LH1 reported the higher engagement levels and then the students in lecture hall 3, so that the lighting levels in LH1 may be contributing factor for the higher engagement. It is important to note that there could be one or the other influencing factors engagement besides the lighting levels also. And here we want to discuss the findings from a survey on gender and visual comfort in lecture halls. The survey results show that the females reported feeling significantly more visually comfortable than males in lecture hall 1 and lecture hall 3. And the possible reasons for this difference could be women tend to be more efficient at processing color and details, which could be contribute for a greater sense of visual comfort in various lighting conditions according to research. And it is very important to note that this is a hypothesis of the research, and further research is still needed to explore the reasons behind the gender gap in visual comfort. Coming to the conclusions, the first finding is that LH1 has a superior thermal comfort compared to LH3. This is likely due to the factors as self-shading and effective management of solar gain in LH1. Although both the lecture halls fall under uncomfortable zone according to the ASHRAE standards, the difference in the thermal comfort is not significant enough to impact the user engagement. And the second finding is that there is a significant disparity in lighting conditions between the two halls. LH1 has substantially higher lux levels and the better visual comfort than LH3. This is because LH1 benefits from ample amount of natural light and strategic use of window coverings such as curtains, while LH3 suffers from poor lighting and due to the blackening out. When an important study reveals a direct relation between the lighting levels and the classroom engagement. Higher light levels in LH1 correlate with the increased attentiveness and engagement among users. Overall thermal comfort is important. Lighting conditions have a stronger influence on user experience and satisfaction in lecture halls. We can also say that gender is an important factor to consider while designing educational spaces for visual comfort, and a qualitative analysis of the study revealed a gender disparity. The female respondents reporting higher levels of visual comfort compared to the male counterparts in both the lecture hall 1 and lecture hall 3. We see there is a prime importance to be given in incorporating the gender-sensitive design approaches in the education environments. Thank you.
Thank you for this presentation. I realized from the beginning that the audio was made faster by the researchers to respect the time limit. So thank you for doing all the ways to respect the time limit. Now we have another article, which is the impact of biophilic design on cognitive malperformance, a case study on girls' primary public schools in Bahrain by PhD candidate Amal Atiyah and Professor Dr. Najla Alanya.
Hi, my name is Amal Atiyah, a PhD candidate at the University of Bahrain. Today I will talk about my study titled The Impact of Biophilic Design on Cognitive Malperformance, a case study on girls' primary public school in Bahrain. People often struggle to navigate within a complex indoor environment, which may lead them to feeling lost and disoriented. This maze-like environment can cause stress and frustration and lead to cognitive function impairment. According to cognitive development theories, disorientation among children is especially crucial as their cognitive maps are still forming and developing at that age. Connection to nature through biophilic design has been proven to significantly improve children's attention, memory, mental ability, and cognitive function. And given that children spend a significant portion of their day in school, educational institutions have become one of the most significant influencers on future generations. Children's stress might not be completely eliminated. Still, wayfinding efficiency through biophilic design offers an environment that is safe and accessible for cognitive function to thrive. Unfortunately, many educational institutions fail to connect students to nature, which can have negative consequences for students' behavior. Therefore, this study aims to evaluate biophilic design potentials in improving children's cognitive performance in primary schools in Bahrain by investigating three main objectives. First, to identify the influence of biophilic design elements on children's cognitive map based on individual differences. Second, to identify the wayfinding parameters used in schools in Bahrain. And third, to assess the impact of biophilic design and cognitive performance in children. In the context of the built environment, cognitive refers to the mental process involved in acquiring and manipulating knowledge. Meanwhile, development refers to the alteration in the structure or function of an individual over time. Therefore, cognitive development can be defined as the evolution of spatial knowledge. Looking into various studies, cognitive map was first defined as the ability to orient and navigate within a space by gathering mental information from the surrounding environment. While many studies have focused on cognitive maps in adults, Piaget explored the development of this theory in young children, suggesting that spatial knowledge evolved throughout a person's life. Studies on cognitive maps drawings suggest that children aged 6 to 8 have the tendency to employ symbols in their drawings. They can comprehend views of images by the age of 9, and by the time they are 11, they can read navigational map and produce accurate perceptual images. Other studies define the age of 9 as the milestone for cognitive development. However, there are some contradictions on individual differences, where some studies suggest boys' cognitive map is stronger than girls, and other studies suggest no significant difference between both genders. Studies on cognitive map in primary schools suggested that rarely visited location had little involvement in children's perception, while flexible, open, and adaptive setting impact spatial perception. A study determined playground has the most significant impact on children between the age of 8 to 9, and green spaces for children between 9 and 11, and navigational signages for children between 11 and 12. On the other hand, studies on cognitive map through biophilic design suggested that nature improved the ability to perceive the surrounding environment. It led to have fewer stops, shorter distances, and faster travel time. Lastly, studies on biophilic design in primary schools suggested that biophilic design in schools can nurture natural tendencies and allow for development and growth. In summary, the literature used various methodologies, including cognitive drawing methods, which were used to understand a phenomena that cannot be observed. To guide the study design and methodology, common themes emerged from the literature review: individual differences, physical characteristics, and direct experience with nature. These sub-themes inform the three-stage study methodology, which aligns with the three objectives of the study. The first stage focused on examining the impact of biophilic design elements on children's cognitive map based on gender and school type. This was done through documents review of cognitive map activity with children. 4 children between the age of 9 and 11 were selected randomly, 2 boys and 2 girls from public and private schools in Bahrain. The study focused on defining the existence of 3 of cognitive map elements: spatial coding, landmark anchoring, and route planning. The second stage focused on schools' wayfinding parameters and physical characteristics used in Bahrain through a semi-structured interview with the key informant. The gathered data were analyzed through content deductive analysis approach to categorize information and extract the main wayfinding parameters. After defining the population from stage 1, the third stage focused on non-intervention observation study. It analyzed 67 cognitive map drawings through MaxQDA software, aiming to quantify and qualify the impact of biophilic elements in cognitive performance. Results in stage 1 suggest that children from private schools showed lower accuracy of dimensions and distances. However, route planning in public school children's drawing suggests a good level of orientation and distance awareness. Children from private schools used less landmark coverage in their drawing, while girls used a higher percentage of landmark coverage, with clear indications for route planning. Therefore, the study identified the selected group to be studied in stage 2 and 3 are girls attending public schools in Bahrain. Results in stage 2 led to clustering students' needs into 4 themes. The spatial planning theme is categorized into 3 sub-themes: open spaces, indoor spaces, and circulation. All 3 sub-themes were addressed as current strategies for wayfinding in public schools to be explored and evaluated. The sketches analyzed in stage 3 defined 9 segments and characteristics as cognitive strategies. These segments include entrances, classrooms, labs, facilities, offices, yards, natural elements, corridors, and stairs. A strong connection is found when comparing these segments to spatial planning strategies extracted from stage 2. The figure on the left shows that classrooms scored the highest frequency in children's drawings, followed by corridor, then schoolyard, and then natural elements. Although not many students used natural elements in their drawing, the main aim of the study is to evaluate the potential of each biophilic element in improving cognitive performance in children. Therefore, the figure on the right assesses the frequency of each biophilic attribute to measure its impact, suggesting that plants are the most used attribute in children's drawing. The lowest attribute used was water because no water feature was located inside the school. Between all biophilic design attributes, it's fair to say that plants are essential in children's cognitive map. However, it's worth mentioning that children highly depend on the connection between outdoor and indoor spaces as a main anchor. This suggests that children's spatial orientation and perception were strongly made around open spaces. The initial effort to ensure a positive integration between indoor and outdoor spaces positively affected children's cognitive map in public schools in Bahrain. In conclusion, this study aimed to evaluate biophilic design's potential in improving children's cognitive performance. The study findings suggest that schools' biophilic physical characteristics are the main factors influencing children's cognitive maps. These findings are supported by findings from the second stage, where spatial planning, including outdoor spaces, indoor spaces, and circulation, are strategies to ensure a successful learning experience. Plants, materials, and shapes are the most significant biophilic elements in impacting children's cognitive performance in Bahrain. Therefore, integrating natural elements and biophilic attributes significantly affect children's cognitive development and well-being. It also offers students and teachers a safe and accessible environment. 2 limitations can be noted in this study. First is the low number of samples obtained. While a large sample of drawings can strengthen the data and the finding. Another limitation is the utilization of one case study for this research. While comparing cognitive function from more than one school can improve the results' reliability and reduce the risk of subjectivity. The limited time allocated for the cognitive map activity for children may have restricted the outcomes. Allowing children more time to draw could enhance the quality of their drawings. Future studies could focus on the influence of culture, background, and school location on cognitive map. Other directions could include a comparison between different schools, genders, or school size. Moreover, the degree of influence of each biophilic design element could also be explored. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. Now we move to the next research is titled Well-Being of Urban Space, Child-Friendly Approaches by PhD candidate Aruna Harwash and Professor Dr. Surushi Modi.
Greetings from Sushant University, India. Well-being of urban space, child-friendly approaches. Authors, PhD candidate Aruna Bharadwaj and Dr. Suruchi Modi. United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child defines children as people aged 0 to 17 years. As the world's most widely ratified international treaty, the UNCRC outlines children's fundamental human rights in 54 articles, covering every aspect of child's life and experience. UNICEF launched child-friendly space initiatives in April 1999 as an effective means of providing large numbers of Kosovo refugee children and women basic social services. But as the world's urban population has risen sixfold, CFS urban planning has increasingly come into the use of global urban planning. Children are often placed in the most disadvantaged positions as the built environments of a city are constructed by adults for their own use and benefit. And the benefits of urban life bypass children and negative aspects can impact them hard. In India, Census 2011 also records 39% of urban population below 18 years. Projected population in 2050 of India is 165 crores, and that is a staggering number of children that we are talking about. Well-being of the urban space. The term well-being describes states of being happy, healthy, or prosperous, and the NEF model for well-being argues that overall happiness or satisfaction with life is only one part of well-being, and people engaged in bettering their skills and fulfilling the potential result in rich and fulfilling lives. This is a very important other part of well-being. For the urban space, this idea broadly transfers into a good quality built environment and an environment that provides opportunity for development and growth. Urban population and children. Literature review of urban population impacts highlights the extreme and irreversible suffering that children experience. Harry, a correspondent for the New York Times in 2015, described his family's horrific experiences of his posting in New Delhi due to extreme air, water, and food contamination. Children, nearly 50% of the school-going children in Delhi suffered from high levels of particulate matter in particular PM 2.5 and suffering from irreversible lung damage. Impact of rapid urbanization and lifestyle changes is also causing serious health hazards due to constant loud sound levels indoor and outdoors for adults and infants and young children. The project Impact of Contaminated Water on Children, conducted in 2022, identifies that children are most vulnerable because they drink more water each day than adults per kg body weight basis. Children on the studies of children in the urban space identify that there is an increase in the working memory and reduced inattentiveness in children that went to school surrounded by higher green areas. Children's freedom to navigate public spaces on their own in the absence of adults, also referred to as independent mobility, is an indicator of child-friendliness of cities. An older study by Hillman in 1990 recorded a drop of 75% in independent mobility of children in comparison to their parents and grandparents. Many elements that children face are directly related to the amount of physical activity undertaken by children. Richard Larrock, in his book on active transportation, summarizes the evidence supporting the positive association between active transportation and several indicators of public health. Hence, it is beneficial for children in general to spend times outdoor, intimately know their neighborhood and connect with their peers and experience nature alongside the way. Tim Gill. The responsible behavior, this responsible behavior encourages participation in community activities, voicing concerns about issues that pertain to neighborhood and social engagement with the neighbors and the community at large. Children's right to play has been explicitly stated in Article 31 by that state parties recognize the right of children to rest and leisure, to engage in play and recreational activities appropriate to the age of the child, and also to participate freely in cultural life and the arts. Blinkert and Weaver hypothesize that children unable to play freely may suffer limitations in their physical, social, and cognitive development. This can be dangerous if it becomes the norm, leading to adults of future generations lacking essential social and personal skills. Diverse children and diverse urbanities. Despite children in different environments react and experience different, have different experiences and react differently. Parent anxieties and obsessive behaviors are also responsible for reduced children independent mobilities. So despite high security and landscaped areas, higher income residential condominiums, deserted neighborhood streets hinder parental permissions for allowing children to venture out alone. Bharadwaj Bhattan, Saini in 2017. This anxieties transcend economic barriers. The resilience and risk-taking abilities exhibited by children in Indian urban villages also needs to be acknowledged, wherein the lack of opportunities can be understood as children are more prone to rising in adversities and making the best of the least that is available to them. So, while we talk about diversity, gender discussion, gender in urbanity is an issue that is not being looked at upon. The perception of both women and children are impacted by the references to human because human has been traditionally perceived as a grown man. Gendered inequalities impact childhood in subtle ways, Making Space for Girls campaign in Britain 2023 has identified that pre and adolescent girls will often avoid using play and neighborhood spaces where boys are present. Devi Sitaram's art series Brothers, Fathers and Uncles captures in vivid detail the dominance of men in different spaces and time as of the day in modern day Kerala. While in contrast, Delhi government is planning to establish women-only parks. In conclusion, the research illuminates the impact of the environment on children development, engagement, safety, and play. There are many types of children existing in diverse circumstances with distinctive narratives, but at the same time, interconnected global and local issues. These interconnectedness provide novel ways, insights, which at times may seem paradoxical into the children and their childhoods. Thus, there is a need for research on specific contexts, such as the gendered childhoods in developed and undeveloped or developing countries, and in different cultural settings and of children of different ethnicities. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move to the next presentation. which is Urban Soundscape in the Arab World, Analysis and Roadmap for Future Research for Associate Professor Dr. Talala Abdelkarim Wazir and Associate Professor Dr. Jihad Berkout, and PhD candidate Samiha Boucheri.
Good morning, everybody. Hope that you are doing well. We are so glad that today we can present you our project entitled Urban Soundscape in the Arab World Analysis and Roadmap for Future Research. We all know that Arab cities have developed their own identity through their rich cultural heritage and thousands of years of history, which has been greatly affected by many cultures such as Roman, Persian, and also Ottoman Empire, as well as many modern colonial powers. This study is an attempt to understand the important part of a larger and more organized investigation into the sound world of Arab cities, because we believe that this study has different parts, and also it tries to understand the sound environment in these cities to show how the unique sound features have been created by a mix of cultural and environmental factors, including historical, cultural influences, architectural design, and also social and cultural practices. The aim of this study is to highlight the scarcity of research on this topic and identifies the gap existing in the new literatures. So this study tries to explore the correlation between the cultural and historical and environmental elements that shape the unique soundscape of Arab cities. Also, this study tries to highlight the correlation, the combination of a lot of topics in order to understand the multifaceted natures of Arab urban soundscapes, from resonant calls to prayers and the vibrant ambience of the traditional cafes, the markets, and also the architectural characteristics. For each factor contributes to the auditory atmosphere that defines the Arab cities. The methodological framework of this study is around 3 methodological parts or approaches. First one, it is a systematic review through Scopus database. We try to run this research based on the title, abstract, and keywords. We try to use the words related to soundscape in the 22 Arab countries with all languages, with all years, and also all documents. After that, we follow this methodology in order to include just the final reviews that we try to analyze, and you can find more details about that in our paper, and we can say that we just find 7 papers. The second part is conducted to identify the typical characteristics and the key elements that shape the soundscape of Arab cities, because this exploration involved the examining the role of architectural design, we can say, and also urban planning and cultural practices, because these features are categorized into 3 groups, we can say. First one is cultural and religious life. The second one is daily life. And the third one is heritage and history. And we will find a lot of details on the upcoming slides. And finally, the study provided a perspective and potential avenues for the future research by identifying the gap in our current understanding of the subject and highlighting areas that require further investigation. And the results first showing the assessing research productivity in the field of soundscape in the Arab world. As you are seeing here, the comparison between the limited numbers of publications addressing this topic in Arab world over the past decade and the extensive body of literature, which is over 3,000 publications on soundscape, relieves that our scientific contribution, from the Arab researchers, is just like 0.2% of the global scientific literature. And also here it is demonstrated in these graphs. And this graph also you can see a cluster map extracted from VOS viewer in order to show the collaboration between the countries in order to examine further soundscapes. And here it is the cluster map for author keywords. And here also you can notice that our researchers are based on two main words, soundscape and also public spaces. Here, when we try to investigate the cultural and religious life, we can say that in this figure, you can see a spectrogram of a soundscape combining Adhan and a reigning of church. For people who are not familiar with this, Adhan is the call of prayer. It is one of the most distinctive and frequent sounds that you can hear in Arab cities 5 times a day. And also church bells contributes to the soundscape in some Arab countries, but lesser degree. And here, let us move on to the daily life and business. Here we try to divide this into three paragraphs or 3 parts. The first one is the traditional cafes, which are places for gathering and to serve a social hub of gathering, laughter, and also music, because they reflect the cultural identity of Arab cities. The lively traditional markets, or also we can call souk, are like the central to the Arab city soundscape, characterized by noises of vendors, consumers, and carts. And last but not least, arts and crafts, which are the sounds produced in public squares by urban noises, creating a vibrant and unique auditory environment. Moving on to the heritage and history, our architecture or the architecture of Arab cities are characterized by organic layout, high density, and also narrow streets. But also there is some main elements or architectural elements that we would like to highlight here, which are the fountains, which play critical roles in the sound identity of Arab cities by masking the noise sounds, and also we can consider it as pleasant sound of floating water. And for public spaces, the soundscape here included a mix of prayer calls, vendor chatters, and also economic activities and traffics. And finally, we tried to highlight a research agenda for studying the Arab urban soundscape in order to fill the gap that we tried to explore earlier, because there is a gap and we have to make more further research to understand its fundamental aspects, component, and also distinctive features. Here, we tried to make the 16 key questions. These are divided into 2 categories. The first category is a descriptive approach. The first one is perception of the sound experiences, studying how residents and visitors perceive and experience soundscapes in various urban areas. The second one, it is the noise sources and characterization in order to identify the key noise sources by, for example, investigating the effect noise pollution management. And methodological impact by examining how urban density can influence the soundscape. The impact of urban life, it is about understanding the soundscape's effects on social interactions, behavior, safety, and also comfort. And 5, it is the soundscape planning and design, which is by developing strategies to integrate sound consideration into the urban planning and also to the design in order to improve the soundscape aspects. And finally, the law and regulation, because we are trying to analyze the existing policies and the legal measurements to identify the gap and try to provide further recommendation in order to enhance this framework. And the second approach is a comparative one, and we say that it should be between local and other regions, and also international and multicultural perception. And also we can make it intra-Arab comparison, like comparing soundscapes within different Arab regions in the same country in order to understand the effect of the local traditions and lifestyle within the soundscape. Finally, we can say that this study provides an inclusive foundation for future research that tries to aim to provide more understanding and soundscape in Arab cities to ensure its preservation for future generation. And finally, we can say that thank you all for your kind attention, and please don't hesitate to ask any questions.
Very interesting indeed. Thank you. Now we move to the next presentation, which is exploring the relationship between healthy city and public space, ergonomics, bibliometric analysis.
Welcome to our presentation, and hello, my name is Elif Çelik. Today we will discuss our study titled Exploring the Relationship Between Healthy City and Public Space Ergonomic, a bibliometric analysis. Our analysis is aimed at understanding how ergonomics contributes to urban health and well-being through a comprehensive review of existing literature. We will explore the complex connection between urban health and the public space ergonomics using a bibliometric analysis. Here are our contents. As urban areas expand and develop, the importance of creating environments that enhance physical and mental wellness becomes important. Today, we will explore how research throughout history have influenced our knowledge of this essential connection through the examination of patterns, significant subjects, and crucial studies. Our objective is to offer valuable perspectives that will shape future urban planning and public space policies. Urbanization is a global phenomenon that presents both challenges and opportunities for public health. The World Health Organization emphasizes the importance of creating a healthy city, not just as a place free from illness, but as an environment to promote overall well-being. The rise of healthy cities in response to growing urban populations, it emphasizes the World Health Organization initiate the Healthy City Project, which defines healthy broadly, including accessibility, safety, and environmental quality. It also highlights the importance of public space for physical activity and overall health, as outlined in the World Health Organization Global Action Plan. Additionally, it discussed how ergonomic plays a crucial role in urban planning by improving interactions between people and their environments to enhance public health. Strategies for creating sustainable, healthy urban environment through strategic urban design, such as integrating natural elements, enhancing public transportation, and ensuring equitable access to amenities. It emphasizes the role of technological advancement in improving urban ergonomics and interaction. Additionally, it highlights the importance of ergonomically designed public space in promoting the well-being of urban dwellers and significance of ongoing research and future trends in urban health, utilizing tools like VOSViewer for bibliometric analysis to guide future directions. This figure outlines a structured research methodology focused on the fields. The process begins have 4 phases with defining the research criteria, utilizing bibliometric analysis tools, Scopus, and VOS Viewer to identify relevant centers and literature. In the first phase, searching for data and documentation within specified inclusion criteria and keywords related to ergonomics, health, and urban spaces. The second phase, analyzing the gathered data to map out performance metrics. Third phase, data extraction and results, using VOS Viewer for detailed data processing and bibliometric analysis, including visualization and mapping analysis based on parameters of countries, authors, years, and journals. The last phase, discussing and summarizing characteristics of pre-initiated ergonomics and healthicity elements, and concluding with protection for future research directions and methodology in urban ergonomics and healthicity planning. Here, material and methods. The study will explore 3 main questions to address gaps in understanding of healthy urban environments and ergonomics in public spaces. The first question: what is the correlation and progression between the ideas of healthicity and ergonomics of public spaces? The second question: which countries, keywords, sources, and documents have the highest number of efficient authors? The last one: what is the chronological progression of key concepts in history? And what is the future directions for scholars, publications, and organizations in this field? The study conducted a bibliometric analysis on the relationship between healthicity and public space ergonomics by reviewing over 2,101 articles from the Scopus database from the 2004 to 2024. Using VOS Viewer for visualization, the study focused on keyword density, authorship, and publication trends to identify emerging trends and gaps in the literature. The study analyzed 2,182 English language journal articles from fields including social science, environmental science, psychology, art and humanities, and multidisciplinary. At the 10 March, initial research included 2,074 documents, increasing 2,101 by April 20. Key findings highlight the significant role of urban planning in promoting environmental sustainability, public health, and social equality, and the importance of ergonomic design in enhancing the usability and accessibility of urban spaces. Publication trends from the 2004 to 2024 showed a general increase with peaks in 2021. However, a recent decline in publication was observed in 2022, possible due to temporary influences like the COVID-19 pandemic. The graph analysis shows fluctuation in academic interest over the time in the field, with certain periods marking peaks in publication. Significant increases in publication were noted in journals such as Applied Ergonomic and International Journal of Ergonomic Environmental Research and Public Health, emphasizing the rising relevance of this research topic. The field study spans 3,029 documents across 98 journals, showing its multidisciplinary fields. Key journals including Proceeding of Human Factors and Multidisciplinary and Ergonomic Society, Applied Ergonomics, and Ergonomics, with the journal ranked in 4 quartiles based on impact. The United Kingdom and United States are leading contributors, followed by Japan, South Area, Netherlands, and Switzerland. Here, cooperation network countries in healthcity, ergonomics, and public space. And authors cooperation network, that's field. Carayon is the first author in that. Keywords analyzing the field area, the ergonomics is the center concept, as you see. The study analyzed the research, health, city, and public space ergonomic, revealing a significant increase in publication over time. Key terms include risk assessment, psychological ergonomics, occupational health, and participatory ergonomics. Applied ergonomics was noted for its significant contributions to the field with the United States and Europe. Research interest in healthy cities and public space ergonomic is growing, influenced by global events and political shift. The field calls for more inclusivity and broader geographic participation to address urban ergonomic complexities effectively. Emphasis is placed on enhancing collaboration across disciplines and regions to improve urban health and policy practices. Here are references, you can see that. And thank you for your attention. We are open to any question or discussion may you have.
Thank you for sharing your study. So the next study is entitled Enhancing Early Learning Through Biophilic Design, a study of kindergarten environments.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to have the chance to present at this conference. My name is Dragana Pantovic-Nikčević, and I'm joined by Professor Svetlana Perović, both from the University of Montenegro. Today, I will be presenting our research on enhancing early learning through biophilic design, a study of kindergarten environments. In the theoretical framework of our study, we define biophilia as the innate human affinity for nature, and the biophobia as the aversion to natural elements. Existing research such as Kellett's works in 1993 highlights the value of nature in promoting cognitive and emotional well-being. Studies have shown that exposure to natural environments can enhance cognitive function, reduce stress, and improve overall well-being. Our literature review underscores the importance of outdoor play and natural environments in the holistic development of children. As urbanization continues to rise, children's exposure to natural environments has significantly decreased. This phenomenon, described by Richard Lowe in 2005 as nature deficit disorder, has been linked to various developmental issues in children, including attention difficulties, obesity, and emotional illnesses. This research aims to delve into the significance of integrating natural elements within kindergarten settings and how this aligns with the developmental needs of young children. Two notable cases from Nikšić, Montenegro, as I said, serve as exemplary models in this context. By examining this kindergarten, this research will highlight the benefits of biophilic design and its impact on children's well-being, emphasizing the importance of creating nurturing and stimulating educational spaces that promote a deep affinity for the natural world. So now let's talk about biophilic design principles in educational spaces. It incorporates several core elements that are critical in enhancing learning environments and fostering optimal developmental outcome for students. So first of all, it's a natural light, a fundamental feature. It plays a crucial role in regulating children's circadian rhythm, which can improve mood and increase alertness, thereby enhancing cognitive performance through the school day. Indoor plants also improve air quality and reduce stress level, contributing to better focus and mental clarity. Nature-inspired views, such as landscape or images of nature, can also provide a calming backdrop that reduces fatigue and promotes relaxation during learning activities. Additionally, the inclusion of outdoor green spaces offers direct contact with nature, encouraging physical activity and sensory play, which are essential for cognitive development and learning. By integrating these elements, biophilic design creates a more dynamic and naturalistic educational settings that supports the cognitive functions and the early learning of children, making these environments more aesthetically pleasing and also psychologically beneficial. In this study, we analyzed 2 kindergartens in Nikšić, Montenegro, both built in 1980s of the last century. Both buildings are detached, single-story structures with secured, dedicated outdoor play areas. Kindergartens of that time were designed to house a large number of children, allowing for a simplified control system and clear segregation between groups, of course, to prevent infections and just to simplify supervision. This approach follows the one door, one key principle, ensuring children are placed in their respective groups with minimal mixing. But these 2 analyzed projects are just more than that, as they design principles align with modern pedagogy guidelines and incorporate biophilic design principles and the use of local materials. The first kindergarten, named Radost, was designed by local architect Slobodan Vukajlović in 1971. And the second, called Sunce, was designed by architect Pavle Popović in 1975. They both received the prestigious Borba Architectural Award. This award recognized the top architectural projects in the Yugoslav republics. Remarkably, both kindergartens continue to function and serve the community, fulfilling their educational role more than 5 decades after their construction. Constructed in 1971 in Nikšić, the Radost kindergarten showcases a distinctive architectural style with a circular base and a central open-air atrium, emphasizing the vision of this architect Slobodan Vukajlović. The atrium is the heart of the building, a safe outdoor playroom around which all the spaces are positioned. The courtyard acts as a focal point, providing a natural open-air environment within the kindergarten. This space likely serves multiple purposes, including play, relaxation, and learning, offering children a direct communication with the outdoors. Interaction with natural elements can reduce stress, promote physical activity, and encourage imaginative play. The kindergarten is simultaneously an introvert and extrovert building. All the spaces turns outward to the playground, but maintain a visual connection with the atrium. The architectural plan reveals the use of organic, non-linear shapes and the inclusion of natural materials. The playrooms are organized in pairs, sharing a bathroom in the middle. This layout encourages children to perceive space from multiple perspectives, enhancing their interaction with their environment. The second case study is a kindergarten Sunce, designed by Pavle Popović in 1975. The building's design multiplies house-like modules, embodying form that children naturally associate with the home, constructed using concrete, nature concrete, and red brick walls. The dominant architectural elements are the roof surface, which effectively drain water on all four sides. The inclusion of lanterns allows for zenithal lighting, creating bright, naturally lit spaces that are ideally suited for children. The essence of Popovich's spatial concept lies in the children's living unit, accentuated by gabled roof with zenithal lighting. These, combined with prominently featured concrete gutter pipes, form the main vocabulary of the design. The project exemplifies the integration of biophilic design principles aiming to connect children with nature and their environment. The extensive use of natural light, open spaces, and connection to the yard foster nurturing and stimulating atmosphere conducive to the well-being and development of children. Materials and methods. In our study, we use a multi-method approach to gather data. This included detailed architectural assessment, observation studies, and interviews with educators and administrators. We analyze historical documents and educational framework to understand the design principles and the impact on the children. The results highlight the benefits of biophilic design in creating, nurturing, and stimulating educational environments. Key findings include improved cognitive function, enhanced emotional well-being, and increased social interaction among children. These results support the hypothesis that incorporating natural elements into kindergarten design positively impacts children's holistic development and are consistent with existing literature. This would be all for today. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, finally, I will share my research entitled Post-Traumatic Cities, the Sense of Inclusiveness and the Impact of Universal Design, taking as a case study Beirut from 1860 until present. My study entitled Post-Traumatic Cities, the Sense of Inclusiveness and the Impact of Universal Design, taking as a case study Beirut from 1860 until present. As cities have expanded with the construction of structures and the influx of people, we have become increasingly aware of the devastating effects of natural disasters on urban areas. The noticeable aspect is in the escalating influence of man-made disasters, which are eroding the essence of a city, including its identity and collective memory. It also challenges the core of human, causing the traumatized inhabitants to wonder how to readjust to a city that they once integrated themselves to it and blended their identity to it, and that is now destroyed and unfamiliar to their senses and memories. Addressing the needs of a city implies that architects and urban planners play crucial roles in alleviating the negative consequences of its distressing experience. The study aims to investigate the level of inclusiveness in the city of Beirut, as well as the inhabitants' awareness to the sense of inclusiveness and universal design. It is essential to understand how the traumatic experience in a post-traumatized city has affected the city's infrastructure and the daily lives of its residents, because its path and evolution are different from another city without such severe or major disasters, which is called heavy city. However, the so-called healthy city is often being considered nowadays as decreasingly hospitable and increasingly unfriendly towards people regarding their physical health, mobility, and perception of the environments they experience. It would be reasonable to add that this kind of city growth is affecting as well the inhabitants' mental health. So we don't want to rebuild a destroyed city to consider it healthy. As a result, the application of universal design, also referred to commonly as design for all, could be a potential approach in a way that seeks to provide necessary urban and architectural elements for people by treating built environments in a way to fulfill the spectrum of purposes and users in the specific built setting. This study will start by analyzing the expansion of Beirut, a city that experienced rapid urban and demographic changes as a result of foreign and local interventions, in addition to man-made and natural disasters. These events include a 15-year war, which is an armed conflict, and the third largest explosion in history. The latter occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic, which had already dramatic repercussions on the international economy and society. Additionally, Beirut in this period has witnessed prosperity, ranking as one of the fourth most prosperous countries in the world in the 1960s, and conversely, severe economic collapse, marking one of the three most severe worldwide bankruptcies since the mid-19th century. While universal design is generally used in healthy cities to address the needs of the vulnerable population, such as children, elderly individuals, pregnant women, and disabled people, the purpose to also comprehend people who have been forcefully displaced from their homes and neighborhoods, those who have experienced the loss of their properties and of loved ones in their familiar built environment, and those who have become disabled as a result of urban disasters, in addition to those who have suffered financial bankruptcies that affected greatly the social statuses and lifestyle dynamic in the city. The focus hence on exploring the city and its ability to provide for the previously mentioned vulnerable inhabitants the feeling of inclusiveness in the built environment they identify with, through visible elements, and consequently to have a city that maintains the desired sense of inclusiveness for its inhabitants. In general, when a city is destroyed due to a disaster, the predominant concept adopted among investors and authorities involved in the decision-making of the city is that traumatic events causing the destruction of cities provide opportunity for a subsequent rebuilding, promoting by that their perspective that a devastating disaster allowed the city to be reborn with a facade of modernity through its post-disaster built environment. However, it is essential to reconsider and analyze this concept, since according to Chumi, architecture is expected to embody the ambitions and lessen the profound fears of each community. This suggests that, in general, ambitions and fears dynamically change in the urban space and time. Let's focus now on the case of Beirut, and let's explore major events and the relative elements enhancing the sense of inclusiveness in Beirut from the 1860s until present, based on observation, analysis of narratives, and the 2-hour personal interview with each of the contacted experts in the field of history, architecture, and urban planning. And these experts are also natives of Beirut, which are referred to as the Biartis. So in summary, we have the triple arch house, a symbol of a house model that expanded in the mid-19th century when Beirut became a prominent port city and Western Levant's primary port. There are also administrative spaces and public spaces that are around the Sarai, for example, places of worship, public transportation and streets. It's important to mention places of worship because there is this equal presence of Christian and Muslim communities in Beirut that grew naturally around their places of worship and not separately because of communal problems, let's say. Public spaces in Beirut, such as spaces with a Western concept, as a free of charge paved social areas for individuals to interact, and places of like public transportation, such as the train and later the tramway. Also, we have the education as an element of inclusiveness because it's so much ingrained in the mindset of the Bjartis. And with the coming of the Protestant and Catholic missionaries, the buildings for schools and universities grew as well. And even people from outside Lebanon came to Beirut to study, and people around from different areas from Lebanon came to Beirut for this study. Also, the rhythm was an element of inclusiveness as watches increased on public buildings, and the presence of religion in the sense of the sound of the muezzin at certain times of prayer and the church bells. Political confessionalism and religious coexistence, which is the slogan of the country, and social spaces of entertainment and shopping. Another element of inclusiveness is through monuments, so through sculptures, for example, that showed the coexistence in Beirut and the sacrifices of each community that is like unifying the country. Non-inclusiveness indicators mainly are from the 50s until the 70s, with the rise of building and the flux of the economy. So there was a change in social classes and in the way of investing or using the lands in the city. This separated mainly the inhabitants and the foreigners who came also. The war, of course, separated much. So it increased a small separation that was non-intentional and that became with time intentional with the excuses of war. Beirut after 1990 had more elements, unrecognized elements, because the reconstruction or the deconstruction, as some people name it, included elements that are non-familiar with the Bjartis. In 1 year, we had Beirut experience a very big problem, which is the economic collapse. Within the same year, there was the COVID-19 that had, of course, a more severe impact on Beirut than on other cities that didn't have this problem. And then a few months later, during also the lockdown, Beirut experienced the third largest blast in modern history. So with these major transformations in private and public points of references in the mental map, let's say, of the Bjartis, the concept of inclusiveness is put into question. So what could make the Bjartis feel included in their city? As a conclusion of the observations and of the interviews is that none of the people or the interviewed people mentioned the universal design implementation. And that people cannot access easily or cannot move easily in the city. As a methodology, there was a questionnaire with 150 participants from the 12 areas, districts of the municipal Beirut. As a result, only 29.3% of the declared cases of disability or vulnerability are medically diagnosed. So some of them are verified and some of them assume their cases. The most important results is that all the participants mentioned that there's a lack of universal design in the city, that there's a large gap between imagined or what is desired and the real situation. And also that they ask to have universal design elements implemented, and this for them indicates that the implementation could allow people to feel more identified with their city. As a conclusion, the Bjartis expressed in the study the need for tangible and intangible measures to feel included in the city and to feel safe in the city with spaces that are affordable. And the topic, of course, needs further study, allowing the inclusion and the comparison of other variables and detailed narratives, starting from cities' major dates to look in depth on personal and communal experiences and the dynamic of the sense of inclusiveness within one's own neighborhood and other neighborhoods in the city, as well as within public spaces that are both relatively near and distant from one's own neighborhood, with the aim of identifying the primary changes needed as a first step, and subsequently the specific universal design norms to be implemented towards a post-traumatic urban inclusiveness. So thank you for staying until the end. So we have now time for discussions. Does anyone have any question to anyone?
Thank you, Doctor, for your interesting presentation and for all the colleagues. I really enjoyed the whole session. Thank you.
Exactly. It was very, diversified. We talked about the biophilic design, about children, about traumatized people, about low-income people, about so many different topics that architecture can handle and architecture can solve at some point or lower its impact when it's negative and enhance well-being and enhance the education and the sense of exploration and motivation within the city and within other settings, whether urban or more like towards the village setting. The most important is to have the frame that is suitable for the identity of each community and for the way of thinking of each one of the urban mentality of the people within this urban setting, of the another group coming to live there maybe or staying in his own let's say environment that is suitable for their well-being. Any comments? Or, we are exactly on time. So thank you again, all of you. And for the ones who want to meet later on in the online gathering, see you in a while.